Yeah.
Service leader today is Lori Whittemore. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Saco and Biddeford. We also want to welcome those joining us on YouTube, hello, and encourage you to have a candle or chalice to light when we light ours here in a few moments. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, we are glad you are here today with us. The theme for this month is generosity. We invite you to carry that theme with you as you are with us today and into your daily life when you leave here today. We strive to be a green sanctuary. It gives roots and wings to our vision of a world where all people build toward a sustainable future and make reverence, gratitude, and care for the living earth central to our lives. We want to acknowledge that our building sits on the unceded land of the Wabanaki Confederation, which includes the Abenaki, Maliseet, Micmac, Passamaquoddy, and Penobscot nations. We invite you to take home the order of service for information and announcements, or you may leave it for recycling as you leave the sanctuary. At this time, please silence or put your cell phones off. Thank you. There will be a social hour in the parish hall after the service. Please join us.
We bid you welcome, who come with weary spirit seeking support, who come with troubles that are too much with you, who come hurt and afraid. We bid you welcome, who come with openness in your heart, who come with anticipation in your step, who come proud and joyous. We bid you welcome, who are seekers of a new faith, who come to probe and explore with us, who come to learn. We bid you welcome, who enter this hall as a homecoming, who have found here room for your spirit, who find comfort in these people. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here. We bid you welcome. And please join me in the words to lighting the chalice. This is our sacred promise, to gather together in peace, to seek truth in love, to serve human need, so that all shall grow in harmony with the divine. And now let's join together with the responsive reading. Let us cultivate boundless goodwill. Let none deceive another or despise any in any state. Let none in anger or ill will wish another harm. Even as a mother watches over her child, so with boundless mind should you cherish all living beings, radiating friendliness over the whole world, above, below, and all around, without limit. And now stand as you're able and join me in singing hymn number 290, Bring, O Past Your Honor. have to go see Paul. Hi, choir.
Hine matov umanayim, shevet ahim gam yahad, which translates to, behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
Hine matov umanayim, shevet ahim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim, shevet ahim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet ahim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet ahim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim, shevet ahim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim, shevet achim 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 gam yachad.
Okay. This is my first time as a worship assistant, so I'm a little on script today. And this is the time in our service when we invite people to share what is in their hearts, whether it is a great sorrow or a great joy or a deep sorrow. It is not a time for announcements or political statements. If you wish, please come forward to light a candle. Tell us your name if you'd like, and share your joy or sorrow with us if you choose to do so. Please hold the mic straight in front of you, like so. Parallel to the floor, and speak clearly into the mic so you can be heard through the sound system.
Hi, my name is Janine, and as many of you know, David has been trying to get guardianship for his sister for months and months and months. And on Tuesday, we were granted guardianship, which means we can sell her house and pay her bills and get her settled. And it's such a relief and a joy.
Good morning, my name is Peggy, and I'd like you to join me in wishing what would be my mother's 95th birthday today. Happy birthday, Mom. Love you.
Hi, I'm Lori, and I stand up before you in gratitude for all of your support while I've been responding in Lewiston. Very hard times ahead, even as we go forward. But today I want to share a joy. So Peter, my husband, also does Red Cross response, and he does the requisitioning and all those sorts of things. And he came home yesterday and he said, I just have to tell you, Lewiston is the only Red Cross disaster in the country, and that's never happened before. So despite the fact that there's terrible things going on locally, the country is relatively stable this week, and I give thanks for that.
As I light one last candle for the joys and sorrows left unspoken, let us take a moment to hold what we have heard in our hearts.
This is Deshanta B, and welcome to Let Me Read to You. Disclaimer: I do not own or have any rights to the story that I will be reading today. I am narrating this story for educational purposes and for fun. The name of the story that I will be reading is called What is Given from the Heart by author Patricia C. McKizak, illustrated by April Harrison. You know what time it is. Let me read to you. And stop playing. Are you ready? Come on, let's go. It was a rough few months for Mama and me. We were already poor, but we got poorer last April when Daddy went to sleep on the front porch and never woke up. Mama cried and cried 'cause Daddy didn't have a suit to be buried in. Come June, we lost the farm and moved to a rundown shotgun house in the Bottoms. On Friday the 13th, it rained frogs. Everything flooded, and Smitty, my dog, disappeared. Misery loves company, Mama said, shaking her head as she swept water out the back door. I hugged her up close, the way I always did when she was sad or I was scared. Long as we have our health and strength, we are blessed, James Otis, Mama said, trying to sound brave. But things didn't get any better. We got an early snowfall in November, and Christmas was skimpy, but we made it through to the new year. Before I realized, February was upon us, with Valentine's Day just 2 weeks away. One Sunday, Reverend Dennis made an announcement during services. Just as we always do, we'll be delivering love boxes to needy folk in our community, he said. Irene Temple and her little girl have lost everything in a fire. We must add them to our list. Next week, bring whatever you think might be useful to them. Remember, what is given from the heart reaches the heart. James Otis, we need to help out, Mama said on a cold walk home. I came back with, how we gonna do that, Mama? We ain't got nothing ourselves. Mama kept right on talking. Sister Bunch told me the daughter's name is Sarah. She's 7, 2 years younger than you. You can find a little bit of something for her, don't you think? I wasn't convinced. What do I have that a little girl would want? Now, said Mama. Remember what Reverend Dennis said. What is given from the heart reaches the heart. That night, I lay warm and toasty under one of Mama's quilts. Still, it made me tremble to think about fire taking away what little we did have. What can I give Sarah to make up for all she's lost, I wondered. I considered the blue ribbon I'd won in the school spelling bee. Nah, the award was important to me, but it would mean nothing to her. I looked over at my beautiful sparkling rock, the one I found down by the creek. But how would that help Sarah? You can't eat a rock. Unable to come up with anything good, I pulled the covers over my head and drifted off to sleep. Come morning, I found Mama in the kitchen busy sewing. I know if we had a fire, I would miss my aprons, Mama explained. So I've decided to make Mrs. Temple one. But Mama, you're using your white tablecloth, the only nice thing you have. James Otis, I'm stitching with a loving heart. My hope is that this apron will give as much joy to Mrs. Temple as the tablecloth has given me. Mama's smile was a welcome sight. That made me study harder on what I could contribute. Maybe Sarah would like something to play with, like my whistle from Dexter Benson's birthday party. But my spit was all over it. What about my crayons? I drew so many pictures with them, even though the black, pink, and dark blue were missing. No way. I couldn't give her used crayons. And I couldn't give her my pencil that was just a nub and not much eraser left either. As time flew towards Valentine's Day, I fretted more and more. I considered giving Sarah a puzzle. It didn't bother me that 2 pieces were missing, but it might bother her. That wouldn't do, not even with a bow on it. And neither would my capeless Superman Halloween costume. Then I remembered my book, Things That Roll. Mama paid 10 cents for it at the resale shop. I read it every night until I memorized each word, and then I drew pictures of all the stuff that rolled. Sarah might enjoy my book, I thought, but maybe she didn't like trucks and marbles and such. Still, it got me to thinking. I gathered my crayons, my pencil, and some paper and got busy. On this Sunday before Valentine's Day, we were off to church. Along the way, Mama told me, as usual, the trustees will deliver the love boxes to the homes of the needy. But Reverend Dennis has invited the Temples to receive theirs at Olive Chapel so they can meet the congregation. The church was full. Mama beamed as she carefully placed the apron in the box. When we presented the Temples with their love box, filled with all kinds of clothing, food, tools, and toys, Mrs. Temple was overcome with emotion. The congregation shouted, "Amen." Even so, Sarah seemed sad and afraid. She clung to her mama's arm and hid her face. I walked over to where they were standing. "Hi, Sarah," I said, sounding cheery-like. "My name is James Otis, and I'm pleased to meet you." "Same to you," she answered, looking at her feet. "Here," I said, handing her my gift. "I wrote it, drew the pictures, and put it together by myself, just for you." Sarah managed to smile as she stared at the book I'd made. Then, real slow-like, she read the cover. "From My Heart to Your Heart" by James Otis Petway. It's about a little girl named Sarah and... "Don't tell me," she said. "I want to read about myself by myself. I can't believe it," she squealed. "A book about me." Then she covered her mouth to catch a giggle. Seeing little Sarah happy made me happy too. I laughed out loud. I put some hard words in so you can look them up. "You sound like my teacher." Sarah pressed the book to her heart, closed her eyes, and whispered, "Thank you, James Otis. I will keep this book forever and ever." Walking home, Mama held my hand. "The Temples looked very grateful," she said. "I think we reached their hearts," I said. Mama nodded. "I'm proud of you, James Otis." "How come?" I asked. "'Cause you're you." In winter, night comes early. The sky was darkening, and it had started to snow. I stuck my tongue out to catch a snowflake as Mama spun joyfully round and round. Suddenly, Mama stopped. "Look, there's something on our porch," she said. I rushed ahead, and there it was. A love box had been delivered to us. And our hearts rejoiced. Our hearts rejoiced. What is given from the heart? The end.
And please stand as you're able and join me in singing hymn number 292, If I Can Stop One Heart from Breaking.
Our reading today is The Chalice of Our Being by Dag Hammarskjöld. Each morning we hold out our chalice of being, to be filled with the graces of life that abound, air to breathe, food to eat, companions to love, beauty to behold, art to cherish, causes to serve. They come in ritual procession, these gifts of life. Whether we deserve them, we cannot know or say, for they are poured out for us. Our task is to hold steady the chalice of our being. We carry the chalice with us as we go, either meandering aimlessly or with destination in our eye. We share its abundance if we have any sense, reminding others as we remind ourselves of the contents of the chalice we don't deserve. Water from living streams fills it, if only we hold it out faithfully. We give back, if we can, something of ourselves, some love, some beauty, some grace, some gift. We give back in gratitude if we can, something like what is poured into our chalice of being, for those who abide with us and will follow. Each morning, we hold out the chalice of our being, to receive, to carry, to give back.
Grace and gratitude. That's what we are to hold on to. The theme for the month is generosity, under the umbrella theme of challenge for the year. And jump to the punchline, the first thing we hold on to is grace. When we think of generosity, we often think about what we give, how much of ourselves or money or time or socks to the homeless or food for the little pantry. What or who we choose to help can be telling. We can give to people and causes that we relate to, like a survivor of breast cancer supporting cancer research, or the Dempsey Center, or someone who has known hunger, giving or volunteering at a food bank. There might be a real feeling of resonance or kinship with the people we help, and that might feel very, very good. A wanting to give back as a result of a gift given. Generosity, true generosity, comes from a place of grace, an acknowledgement of a gift given, of unmerited, unearned grace. Unmerited grace does not mean that we've been given a life of bliss, as we all know, that we haven't suffered or had to deal with blows from the challenges life hands out. But there are always gifts. There are always strengths to be had. There is always a cup full of spirit, as Bo just read, a chalice of our beingness that can be acknowledged and shared. A wonderful metaphor for this inner experience of grace is the spring within you. The spring is not outside us, it's within us, and it's bubbling up into creation, all that we have to give. Spiritual knowing and spiritual cognition are always really a recognition, a recognition. It's the realization that we already know is true at some deep level. We've had an intuition or a suspicion that we might be beloved children of God, beloved children of creation, an individuation of the source of all things. But we often think that it's too good to imagine. Heaven is already given. The gift is already handed over. We already have the gift of spirit within us, and it grows by sharing it. Grace grows by sharing it. The Spirit has been poured into our hearts at the moment of creation. We are already children of God, of all there is. The water is already bubbling up within us, and we don't dare to believe it oftentimes. And so we lose sight of it oftentimes. And from that stream, though, we are both sustained and prepared to offer sustenance to others. We usually do not recognize or appreciate all that we have been given gratuitously. It's known as the free flow of gifts back and forth. The other side of that coin is we often concentrate on how we've been offended. It's easier to remember those things. The negative rebound that we send out into the world when we think a wrong has been done to us. And of course, that creates angry energy and negative energy. And we need to work and reflect for most of our lives to recognize and resist the game of lashing out when we've been lashed out against. Because negative karma is as much, if not more powerful than positive karma. Negative energy is like Velcro. It pulls negative energy to it, rather than good energy, which often falls as Teflon, at least in the spiritual life. We need to recognize personal choice and responsibility and freedom in the here and now, and not just disconnected payoffs in the future, which sometimes happens. In Christianity, many have understood much of the gospel in terms of divine threats and artificial rewards, a delayed schedule of merits and demerits. This deeply distorted the gospel's transformative message, when the Bible, especially the New Testament, is really a love story. A story of unmerited grace poured out again and again and again. A story that does not prescribe behaviors, but prescribes grace in all things. Reward and punishments for behavior are inherent and now, and only by karmic implication. Karma, rightly understood, creates responsibility. It creates self-actualized people instead of fear-based people. Threats of punishment or promises of candy later create perpetual adolescence. And we are not that. The bottom line is that we don't deserve anything. We don't deserve any of the good that comes in our life, honestly. It's all a gift. Until we have to begin living in that understanding of abundance instead of scarcity, abundance, we may think we have somehow earned these gifts and that we have come to us because we're better people, that we are harder workers, so we deserve health care, and those who don't have health care don't deserve it. That's scarcity, but abundance is there's enough for everybody, and everybody deserves it. And the term for that is meritocracy. And some iterations of Christianity, and of Christians for that matter, speak this way. You get what you deserve. And maybe not in that tone, but maybe more like, I get grace because I deserve grace. But again, to understand the gospel and its radical transformative power, we have to stop counting, measuring, and weighing people's behaviors against what they get. We have to stop saying, I deserve, and I decide who doesn't deserve. None of us deserves. This is not a Christian challenge. Most traditions face this as well. Many individual independent belief systems also don't address grace as an unmerited gift. There are chosen people, there are more deserving people in there, and grace is not necessarily a factor. And we all have belief systems, and in our culture it comes down to that. What we need to hold on to is that regardless of our circumstance, there is grace in all of our lives. Holding on to that grace, holding on to that grace. And in recognition and the holding on to it, we prepare ourselves to pass it on. So grace is one thing that we hold on to. The other is gratitude. We really need to acknowledge and hold on to gratitude, recognizing that the graces in our life is one thing, but acknowledging them and being grateful fills the chalice of the living water. In life, we get stuck. It's easy to feel like we get the short end of the stick and therefore get stuck in the mud of despair and grumpiness. Grumpiness. Perpetuate the thinking that we are getting stepped on. We get balled up and tightened up. When we go from rashy and clenched to grateful and open, we sometimes get to note the experience of grace, gratitude and grace. The movement of grace in our lives towards freedom is the mystery. So we simply say thanks. Something had to open, something had to give, and I don't have a clue how to get things from here to there, but grace delivered it, and I am grateful. Annie Lamott writes of the exponential flow of gratitude in our lives. Saying and meaning thanks leads to a crazy thought. What more can I give? We take the first action by giving, and then the insight follows, and that fills us up. And sin is not the adult bookstore on the corner. Sin is the hard heart, the lack of generosity, buying into the isms, racism, sexism, so forth. But there is a crack where a ribbon of light might get in that might sneak past all the roadblocks and piles of stone and hardness of heart of our mental and emotional and cultural sins. And how can something so simple be so profound? How can grace and gratitude be such profound things? Letting others go first, as an example, in traffic or in a line at Starbucks. I love because my daughter works at Starbucks. And even if no one cares or notices, because the most part, people won't care and they won't notice. They're late. They haven't heard back from their new boyfriend. They're fixated on the stock market, and they won't notice that you let them go ahead or buy a head of coffee for them. They take it as their due. But you'll know, and it can change your whole day. It can change your whole life. There really is only today, and although luckily, that is the eternal now. Today is the eternal now. And maybe one person in the car, in the lane next to you, or in the line at the bank or at your kids' baseball game will notice your casual generosity. And they will be touched, lifted, encouraged. In other words, they will be slightly changed for the better. And later, maybe they will even let somebody go first, and so on, and so on, and so on. The movement of grace towards gratitude brings us from packaging up self-obsessed madness to a spiritual awakening. Gratitude is peace. You breathe in gratitude and you breathe out peace. Once you learn how to do that, then you can bear someone who is unbearable. That's a side note. My general go-to is Rumi, and Rumi says, there are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground, to prostrate oneself before their unmade maker. But bearing the barely bearable is one of the best. Grace and gratitude, therefore, is what we hold on to. As gifts to ourselves, from those gifts we are prepared to be generous in all the ways it means to be generous. That's my challenge for you this month, and in fact, forever. Hold on to your awareness of gifts and graces present in your life, even in the dark times. Practice gratitude in your self-awareness and in public, because when people see it, they do it. Model that for them. We hold on to these gifts, these things, to cultivate them in ourselves, but to multiply them and pass them on. Hold on to grace. Hold on to gratitude and generosity, and they will flow like a spring. I would also be remiss this Veterans Day weekend if I didn't extend and acknowledge those who have and who do fight for us. It is no small thing to raise your hand and step into an unknown and likely unsafe future for the benefit of others. As citizens of this country, and as practitioners of free and liberal faith in these four walls, we should never take for granted that what makes it so and who has made it so. And it is gratitude for those efforts and sacrifices. I'll conclude my words for today, and I'd like to invite us to take a pause and have a moment of silence and thanksgiving for those who serve and those who served. When we gather together as a community, we bring the gifts of ourselves, our hearts and our spirits, our time and our energy, our talents and our skills to support the work of this church here within our walls and out in the larger community. We also bring our gifts of generosity, giving what we have so the work of this church will continue. As always, half of our offering will be sent out into the larger community to support the work of agencies or organizations that make a difference in the world. This month we are sharing our offering with MUSON, and I'll try to remember, Maine Unitarian Universalist State Advocacy Network. Is that right? Thank you. I'm so proud. If you are watching from home, donations may be made through the Give button at the top of our webpage, uuchurchsacobiddeford.com, or checks may be mailed to UUCSB, 60 School Street, Saco, Maine. Our offering will now be received. Please join me in the words of extinguishing our chalice. As we release this flame from its faithful service today, we allow the spark in each of us to burn on, to warm our compassion, to fire our delight, to light our paths today, tomorrow, and always. And remain standing and join me in singing 298. Please be seated. May you go from this place filled with gratitude for the many graces you've been given. May you be filled with the blessings of this covenanted community. May you carry with you as you depart from here all of these graces. May you discover the places in the world where these blessings are needed. May you have the courage to share them. And may there be an open place within you to receive the blessings back of the people whom you will meet along the way.
Now we go our way rejoicing, filled, renewed, restored in spirit. Alleluia. Now we go our way rejoicing, filled, renewed, restored in spirit. Alleluia. Now we go our way rejoicing, filled, renewed, restored in spirit. Alleluia. Now we go our way rejoicing, filled, renewed, restored in spirit. Alleluia. Alleluia. Alleluia.
Our service is now concluded. Thank you so much for joining us. There'll be coffee in the parish hall afterwards. Please remain seated for Paul's postlude.